Right, so we have news about a squirrel and a raccoon trending on X. If you have any connection to the platform during the weekend, you will have seen by now that it was full of posts and memes about a squirrel and a raccoon that were essentially euthanized by the New York government, the state government. So this is an emotional roller coaster because I have pets. And if anyone did any funny thing with my pets, I would completely lose it. And
I agree. Yeah, I think that if pets are like members of the family, aren't they? And if someone wishes harm upon them, then you treat it like they're trying to murder, a member of your family, which they are.
The only thing I would disagree with your statement is they are members of the family.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just...
Yeah, there was a case of people kidnapping dogs and making them do dog fighting in the UK. And it would be like people's household pets, obviously not fit for fighting, just like nice fluffy things. And just the evilness of that, just you're kidnapping people's household pet for your own sick entertainment.
It's just
disgusting.
It's not the way to be.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the way to be. So it has received a sort of political dimension. The event has received political dimension. Elon Musk has been constantly retweeting about it because this squirrel, Peanut was his name, was essentially someone who had more followers than all of us combined. He had millions of followers.
All right. Because even though I've been on Twitter most of the weekend, I haven't paid any attention really to this. I have seen squirrel-related things, but I didn't really read any of it, and didn't really. I don't actually know what's happened.
I was getting people asking my comment on the Peanut situation.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Josh, we need you to
I think
tell us
Peanut has become a libertarian symbol, and it's important. So he had around 3 million followers across social media.
Has Kathy Griffin weighed in on this yet? I need to know. Has The Rock weighed in?
No.
Dwayne Johnson's a coward. He won't dare comment on the Peanut situation.
After the roaring success of our UK election coverage, we are indeed doing another massive Lotus Eaters livestream to cover the US elections on Tuesday, the 5th of November. We will have a giant roster of guests, both in the studio and remotely via Zoom, and we will be live streaming on Rumble, so we'll be able to say exactly what we think, no holds barred. Do tune in, it's going to be great, and hopefully we'll be ringing in Trump's second term, or perhaps we'll be having a massive meltdown. Who knows what the future holds. See you then.
Here we have Peanut and Fred in heaven. Right, so we have several other posts. We have fight coming from the squirrel there. And what is really interesting here, which I found really telling, that this is something that the government doesn't want people to talk about. So I prepared this segment today, and just a few minutes before we started the podcast, one of the main accounts stopped existing, was shut down. This is the main account where they were uploading stuff and memes about Peanut and Fred. And it literally stopped existing a few minutes before we started the podcast.
That account didn't stop existing itself. I'm throwing that out there.
The account didn't kill itself. Let's put it this way. Right, so we are going to talk about both, because Fred also was the raccoon that died, and people are reminding that he was also the victim of this not police brutality, but state brutality.
So what actually happened?
We'll get there.
Okay.
So we have here a very heartbreaking video of Fred the raccoon, and you'll also see Peanut the squirrel. You'll see them here. It's just, what can be more wholesome than that?
Raccoons are quite cute. I know they're sort of pests and they go through people's rubbish, but they're tiny little hands. There's something a little bit human about them, isn't there?
Yeah. And here's Peanut the influencer. He's literally showing who's the boss.
Right, millions of followers.
Yeah, millions of followers.
Okay.
On Instagram, TikTok. Yeah, he was a big deal. So they say here, make sure everyone here's the story of Peanut the squirrel and Fred the raccoon. The Democrats went too far this time. They raided this man because a hater reported them for having these pets. New York stole the animals and killed them. This is the Democrat Party. And we just
learned that they
Marco Longo
euthanized
talk about it.
And the raccoon as well.
And the raccoon as well. I am so sorry. This must be really difficult for you.
It not only tears my family apart, but Peanut was the cornerstone of our nonprofit animal rescue. And 10 to 12 DEC officers raided my house as if I was a drug dealer. I was sat outside my house for 5 hours. I had to get a police escort to my bathroom. I wasn't even allowed to feed my rescue horses breakfast or lunch. I was sat there like a criminal after they interrogated my wife to check out her immigration status, then proceeded to ask me if I had cameras in my house, then proceeded to go through every cabinet, nook, and cranny of my house for a squirrel and a raccoon.
They got a search warrant?
They got a search warrant. 4 departments and a judge signed off on a search warrant for a squirrel and a raccoon. And then they took them and killed them.
Why did they go through all that to get a search warrant for an animal that had been with you very safely, and the world witnessed this for 7 years? Why now suddenly did they show up with a search warrant and take these animals?
We haven't a clue. We don't know who made the complaints. Again.
So what happened is that this couple, Marco Longo and his wife, they've started Peanut's Freedom Farm, which is an animal rescue haven. And they have around 300 animals, stray animals, and they are essentially caring for them. And Peanut was someone who was a social media star, let's say. And he was getting people to find out about the farm with that account, and they were making donations and they were contributing.
That's how a lot of animal rescues actually make their money, because I actually follow a few online, and I think it's a very good thing for people to do. It's a lot of hard work, and they don't exactly get well compensated for it, and so they turn to social media as it's a source of revenue to bring in to actually fund the venture. And so they sort of rely on this to be able to feed these animals, because it's expensive to look after lots of animals, isn't it? But it's a very moral thing to do, I think.
Yes. So what happened here in a nutshell is that someone made a complaint, or some people. It could be more than one. I mean, we've watched Hot Fuzz. It could always be more than one. They made a complaint to several agencies, and the agencies came out with a warrant, and they knocked this person's door. They went into his house in Pine City in New York State. And as he says, they took him out for 5 hours. They wouldn't even allow him to go to the bathroom unescorted. They first had to go and check the bathroom. And what happened is that they are saying something that he disagrees with. So we have conflicting narratives about what happened. Was that what they are saying, the department officials are saying, is that while they were searching the house, Peanut bit one of them. So they took Peanut and Fred, and they said that they have to euthanize them to check whether they have rabies, who can cause encephalitis in human and other animals. And they euthanize them. Marco Longo says that, he obviously didn't have rabies. If he had rabies,
Mm-hmm.
If he had it, he would have died himself. So we have conflicting narratives about what happened. But it shows, in a way, what goes on when there is excessive use of police, of state force brutality, and also the arbitrariness of focusing on having a search warrant, searching a farm without saying why, and also just taking revenge upon an animal. Right, so we have here the Animal Farm Sanctuary website. We can go down and you can get an idea. They say, "Welcome to Peanut's Freedom Farm, where second chances thrive. 7 years ago, a tiny fluffy baby squirrel entered our lives and changed everything. Peanut the squirrel quickly captured hearts and became a household name. Despite being reintroduced into the wild, Peanut faced adversity, losing half of his tail in a severe attack. Without developing essential wildlife instincts, Peanut became an indoor, non-releasable squirrel. Remarkably, Peanut went on to become the first squirrel to amass over 1 million and then 2 million followers on TikTok, with a combined social media following of over 3 million.
It's nice to be outdone by a squirrel, isn't it? Several times over.
Yeah, by orders of magnitude. Yeah. One thing I'd say is, it seems like what these people are doing, is it Longo? Is that
Marco Longo.
It's just obviously completely wholesome, even altruistic. Just a great thing.
Yeah.
So it seems terrible. One thing I would say is, if there's anything to the rabies thing, I mean, rabies is no joke. I don't know. I'm not saying there was anything to it. I mean, if you ever see people dying of rabies, it's honestly hellacious. It seems almost certain Peanut didn't have rabies. Yeah, it's a state, you know, they won't investigate other actual homicides and things, but this they go crazy on.
Yeah, and
horrible.
He says also that there were 10 officials that raided his house. He treated him and his wife like terrorists, as he says, and they were from New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, which is a bit counterintuitive. When you think of these agencies, a lot of people think that they are going to be people who have a relevant degree of sensitivity towards protecting wildlife and nature, and it seems that they acted in the exact opposite way than people would expect here. Right, so we need to talk a bit about the story of it, because there have been people who are trying to water it down and say that and try to attack the character of Marco Longo and his wife, because they said that they opened in a sense this peanut farm from money from posting their OnlyFans porn.
Plot thickens, okay.
Yeah,
Plot thickens, yeah.
It takes a left-hand turn here a little bit.
But what I want to say, just from the very beginning, whatever they have done, whether people find it morally questionable or not, I think we can agree that this is state brutality, and that's wrong, irrespective of what a lot of people trying to point out about the past of Mark Longo and his wife. I think that we shouldn't just say, well, if we don't like what they did, therefore they don't have rights. I'm not in favor of that approach.
Doesn't seem like there's any connection between what they got up to in their bedroom and whether or not Peanut had rabies.
Yes, but
they don't seem connected to me. I don't know though. I don't know all the details.
They don't seem connected, but there have been several complications that I want to make both of you aware of, but also make the audience aware of. Now, there was a lot of fake news regarding the story of Peanut on Twitter. There was this article that says how a squirrel became a rallying cry of the far right. After the lawful removal of an illegal pet in New York, right-wing activists called to arms by Ellen Lewis. This seems to be fake news. The person who is writing for The Atlantic is Helen Lewis, and this seems to be the article she was writing, the animal cruelty election. And she says that this is essentially a theme that plays out a lot in this election campaign, because we also had Trump talking about Haitians eating cats and dogs
and they're actually eating geese.
Yeah, also geese. So it seems that animal cruelty is a feature of these elections. Now, speaking of U.S. elections, we have Lotus Eaters merch about the elections. I think this is one of the last opportunities for people to buy them.
They're going off tomorrow.
Yeah, so check them out. We have the brilliant mug with a fight symbol with Trump. We have also Trump, the Art of the Grill t-shirt. We have several other products. A Trump Vans cap. Definitely check them out. Right, so what's going on is that they are trying to create a controversy by saying, here, if you focus down on the controversy bit, Longo ran an OnlyFans account under the name Squirrel Daddy, where he called himself Peanut's dad and produced pornography.
Which is serious. Come on.
Yes.
Just why that name though? It's just.
So I don't know if that is. So there's question now whether he was using Peanut's account to take people into his OnlyFans account, or the opposite. it seems likely that he was using the opposite. He was using money from OnlyFans to open the animal rescue. And they say that at some point they made around 800K a month.
Oh, I hate the 21st century.
And that's how they built the farm. So I want to say this, that it seems that they used money from OnlyFans. Please don't do this to me.
That's big bucks, though. Any way you cut it, right? That's
yeah.
I'm depressed. Not only the name, but also the amount of money they're making. Oh.
But they put it for a good purpose. They put it for a good purpose.
That squirrel's probably living a better life. Well,
yeah. So we have here they said that there are several things, and this caused a backlash. Some say they have Squirrel Daddy, Peanuts Dot, very kinky player, and they have stuff here. And there are memes now calling for the exact opposite. Okay, just this is something that, we have to tell you what happened. But what I want to say here is that irrespective of what they're trying to say about the couple who did this yet again, I want to repeat, this is state brutality.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it doesn't detract from the fact that the state came in and killed their pet squirrel.
Yeah.
I would like to echo your opinion that I hate the 21st century. What I keep thinking while you're going through this is the amount of injustices the state has done, or New York State, to people, but this goes viral. So, for example, letting out multiple felons who then go on to commit terrible crimes against people. Yeah. That's just sort of a common fare. Yeah. And it doesn't dominate Twitter for a whole weekend. But Peanut, I mean, it does seem bad, and Peanut seemed very cute. And it's a travesty that he was euthanized unnecessarily. But it speaks volumes, doesn't it, about our society, that Peanut gets the injustice of that is something people are up in arms and annoyed about en masse, it seems. But a multiple felon being let out and then just going on a killing spree in New York City or something, not so much.
To be fair, I want to be a bit charitable to people, because it seems to me that this isn't the only story that has caused a backlash. Sure. We regularly see people protest against how a lot of state actors are presenting, and their supporters are presenting in a positive light murderers. It's just, I think that people get so much desensitized from constantly hearing news about it, and when you hear something like that, which obviously this squirrel hurt no one. It seems to be evil for evil's sake, which seems pretty evil to me.
Yeah, sure. No.
Anything the state does, really. But particularly in the US, for whatever reason, various governments do like to murder people's pets. Dogs normally, actually.
Yeah.
But sorry, do carry on.
No, I'm just saying now, there's a question now, and there are multiple theories as to who ratted the squirrel. And Mark Longo says that most probably someone who was envious from the account, from the squirrel's popularity. I don't know if we know. We have here Josh Firm.
Who's that guy? Sounds like a loser.
I don't know, but he has a good meme there. He says, "Hate the state. It's what Peanut would have wanted." They made Peanut into a libertarian symbol.
Well, I didn't actually make this. Someone tagged me in the picture and I shared it. But
yeah, okay.
But thank you to whoever did that.
Yes.
Peanut's a big fan of Murray Rothbard or something.
Yeah. Peanut the Hoppian.
Well, squirrels don't like sharing their nuts, do they? They don't say, "Oh yeah, I'm going to pay a 20%." I nearly said peanut tax. I don't know, nut tax. That sounds horrendous.
Let them have their nuts.
Yeah.
Let me have my nuts.
They gathered their nuts themselves. You don't then get to take some. Just like, well, we're going to give you some amorphous. We're going to give you squirrel healthcare now.
Nuts are not held in common in the squirrel community.
No, they understand private property, do they? They have territories. They're for property rights first and foremost. Squirrels. And
there have been hundreds of memes about it. Pets for Trump. Here we have an army of squirrels. We have Justice for Peanut. We have To the Polls, lads. Peanut leading the way. And here we have a wholesome, heavenly meme saying they're together again. Fred and Peanut.
Oh.
Let's not forget Fred.
Yeah. Sad news there, Stelios. If you would like to watch the full uncut version that is also uncensored, head on over to lotuseaters.com to find out more.